All right, here we are. It's late and I came back from a gig. I've had a lot of gigs, man. And I'm tired, but I was like, man, I got to do a podcast and I got to keep it kind of low because it's late. Like I said, it's like 1 in the morning. And I'm like, I got to do a podcast. I haven't done a podcast in a while. I keep putting it off. But I've been that busy. That's how busy I've been. I'm working on a mariachi CD. The recordings sound amazing if you ask me. I just hope that mixing is very difficult, and I was mixing and I'm using Pro Tools, and my friend Eric told me to get rid of Pro Tools a long time ago, but I haven't gotten rid of Pro Tools, and now I remember why, because it makes these errors. I just like, if somebody's going to charge you like $1,000 for a software and hard piece of hardware, they shouldn't be making these kinds of errors. And so it's like companies just release the software. They're like, fuck it, it's good enough. Here you go. We'll fix it later after you buy it. If you can even buy anything, excuse me. If you can even buy anything anymore, because now everything you start, like, you rent everything. Here we go. I'm gonna have one of those podcasts where I can't talk. But you know what? I don't think so. I'm gonna take over. My conscious mind's gonna take over this, and I'm gonna talk correctly. I was listening to this guy Eric Weinstein actually talk, and he's a very brilliant person. His mind is very brilliant, and so is like somebody like Sam Harris, right? Not that other people are not brilliant, and not that like Sam Harris is exceptionally brilliant compared to other people. He's very good at articulating himself. But I noticed that I'm partially in the art of speaking, like doing this. And I noticed that I appreciate it when somebody has a good balance between their vocabulary and their inflection. Like, if somebody, I know I'm like talking about that, but I have to talk really low right now, okay? Don't like think I'm being a hypocrite. And you know what? I'm not good at either of these, I'm sure. Vocabulary and inflection. I'm not a pro. But the balance between like the way that you explain yourself and the kind of passion and the enunciation and the things that you put into it, like that, and then between the very like monotonous like dial tone type of thing where you're using a lot of different words, you're being precise as possible with your definition, whereas the other way, you're being as precise as possible with your emotion. So you're being precise with your definition sounds more like, and the processes of these items, these mental artifacts, which I dare say are elusive, but nonetheless, they come from an epistemology which interjects the flux capacitor of my penis. You know what I'm saying? So it's like stuff like that. Stuff like that. What the fuck am I talking about? So I appreciate it when somebody has a good balance of that. Who has a good balance of that? You know what? This dude, Dan Carlin, this podcaster, Dan Carlin, he has a good balance of that. His vocabulary is not insane. He's like, he doesn't go crazy with his vocabulary. And sometimes I don't know if using big words, even though they could be small in numbers and like the number of letters that they have, or syllables, but using big words isn't always. I wonder about it, because if you're saying something and the majority of people don't know what you're talking about, and the main thing is not that you're trying to educate people's vocabulary, you're trying to expand their vocabulary, but you're trying to get a point across. Like, what's the point in that instance to use a quote unquote big word? I don't understand how I started talking about this. I was walking my dog just a little while ago, and I was like, man, I don't feel like walking my dog right now because I'm tired, right? I did a mariachi gig. I gotta tell you, people love the mariachi. They love it. Like, they gather around us like we're rock stars. It's great. It's amazing. If my ego was in a different place, like, I would feed off of that. in an egotistical way, but I don't. And it makes me happy that they're happy, and I'm happy to make them happy. And to me, I'm still hungry. Like, I still haven't eaten. I'm over here playing, and I'm like, people are eating, and I'm like, man, I really want to eat that sandwich right there. But nobody knows that I'm thinking about that. I can't really eat when I'm going to sing mariachi because it's kind of operatic. And if I eat too much food, it fills up my cavities inside. So whatever, however it works, and then I can't get air like the way I need to. So I was walking my dog, and I noticed that trash cans in my neighborhood. I made it. Maria, Lucy, Omar, Eric, whoever's listening to this, Tom, Ruben, I made it, man. I made it. You know why? You know how I know I made it? Because the trash cans where I live are clean. I remember living in Los Angeles, and our trash cans were dirty. Everybody's trash can was dirty, except for those two white people living on our block. But our trash cans were dirty. They were trash cans, and they were meant to be dirty, and they were dirty, and they were dirty on the outside, and they were dirty on the inside. But people around here, like, they must wash their trash cans, right? Even, as a matter of fact, my recycling thing, and actually our trash cans are not clean, but everybody's trash cans are clean. And I'm walking the dog, and I'm seeing the trash can on the side of our road. I'm like, this is it. I was walking through Beverly Hills one time, or driving, and I was like, in other neighborhoods around Los Angeles, and I was like, man, look at that. Their alleyways are clean. Like, I could drop like a cheeseburger, like no bun, face down in the alley, and like pick it up, and it's probably still okay. But if I was to do that in the neighborhood where I was growing up, which wasn't too terrible, it wasn't like trash cans on fire on the corners and stuff like that, like fucking all like The Day After, or To Live and Die in LA, fucking Escape from New York, whatever the name of that movie is. It wasn't like that. It was like it was just not, the trash cans where I grew up, they were just not clean. Excuse me. And but here, the trash cans where I live are like spotless. You could knock the trash can over, and it could be a summer day, and you can knock it over and like crack an egg on it and like cook it with a spatula, and you can eat off of the trash can. That's something. It's like people don't realize that, like how privileged that is. Privileged. Do I use that word? No. But it just escaped me because, it's been around so much. But people don't realize how fortunate they are. Privileged. People don't realize how fortunate they are living in a place like that. They just take it for granted, of course. How do you become a person that doesn't take things for granted? That is the moral discussion on Goliath Flores' podcast this week. No, actually, I'm not going to do that. I have done some of those kinds of podcasts. But I got to tell you, if you ask me, people are not the best judges of who they are, I've noticed. But if you ask me, I'm one of the most grateful people that I've ever known. And there's reasons for that, which I'm not going to get into, but I will tell you a couple of things. I'm a very grateful person because I think about death every day. Just about every day. Yeah, I'm not kidding. Maybe several times a day. That'll make you real grateful. Because today could be the day. Today could be the day that you go. Every day is a war over here in my mind, apparently. And it's not stressful. It's just a fact of life. Every day people are going, and nobody ever expects that it's going to be them. You see what I'm saying? And not that I'm expecting it. But you got to stay vigilant to a degree, especially if you're driving or if you're riding a bicycle. You can never let go and be like, man, I got this. I've done this shit 1,000 times and nothing has ever happened. I'm going on autopilot. Let me text somebody real quick while I'm driving. No, you can't do that. That's taking something for granted, you see. And then the other thing is, I don't remember the other thing. And but it doesn't matter. But there's something that I want to talk to you about, is that in this podcast is almost like the only place that I could be frank with people, with you. with anybody in talking, because everywhere else, just about everywhere else. First of all, I want you to know that I live in a vastly, like, predominantly white neighborhood, and people strive for, like, Patagonia brand and Columbia and Subaru. These things make people feel comfortable around here. They don't make me feel comfortable, but I'm not any better than them in that sense. You know what I'm saying? I have my own brand, so to speak, or no brand. My no brand is a brand, maybe. But anyhow, the I live in why the fuck was I talking about? Oh yeah, so I get judged, and I don't always know it. Like, sometimes I suspect it, but other times it's very obvious and very clear, and people are shaking their head at me. Goliath. People like to be. First of all, something I noticed about the culture here is in the neighborhood where I live, like this type of echelon in society and the part of the country where I live, is people seem to like to be not content. And being dissatisfied with things is almost like a symbol of intelligence. Like, people, like, if you're dissatisfied, then somehow you're paying attention. But the truth is, I think that, excuse me, by the way, my throat. The truth is, I think that I've reconsidered, and I heard this director or author say this, something similar, is that if you're not happy, then you're not that smart. Like, I don't care what you invented or what you're doing. If you're not happy, if you can't figure that out, like, then you're not that smart. Because of, first and foremost, we're people, human beings with minds, etc. Oh man, it's so annoying when I talk like that. So, yeah, I could be frank with you, and it's kind of sad, you know what I'm saying? Because I think it has something to do with the internet, and maybe like Twitter and like Facebook, and the culture is like everybody else's police person. Like, everybody's like moral police. I'm not interested in doing that at all, you know? It's so boring, and it's like so, oh my God, like 1934 Germany or something. Not that I know anything about 1934 Germany as a German living there. My mariachi band can play a mean polka, though, I'll tell you that right now. So, yeah, but it's just, I need to find a way or situation or different friends where I could be frank. And the friends that I can be frank with, I can't hang out with them. I tend to friend people who are achievers, and achievers are busy. And we love each other, but we can't hang out with each other because they're doing their thing and I'm doing my thing, and they're doing their thing and I'm doing my thing. Oh. So, there was something else I want to talk to you about, which was your good deeds. Right? Am I really going to do this moral lesson thing? It sounds like I was thinking about talking about it, but now I don't really want to, because it sounds all like preachy. And I don't mind sounding preachy sometimes, but I don't feel like doing that right now. So, I was driving home from my gig, and I was thinking how much driving sucks. And some people really like driving. I fucking hate it. I hate driving. I'll drive a short distance. I'm fine with that. But sitting in the car, like behind the wheel, I don't really find many meditating things about it. Ever since I started bicycling a lot, and for a long time, bicycling was my primary mode of transportation. Believe it or not, I have a backpack, and it's awesome. Like, you get somewhere on your bicycle, and you're not stressed out because you burned up all your stress, whatever. And that's meditative. Like, you're actually pedaling and getting some exercise, and the wind is hitting you, and you're more in the actual elements around you, the organic elements around you. But you know what? I'll tell you about the thing that I call good deeds proxy. In this culture that I was describing a moment ago, about the Patagonia and Columbia and Subaru culture, the people that that makes them feel comfort somehow. There's a lot of judgment. There's a lot of people are looking for an answer. Like they're trying to do yoga, and they're trying to drink the coconut, and they're trying to trying to drink the coconut, and they're trying to drink acai berries and whatever. They're looking for an answer somewhere. And I noticed that even with people close to me, I noticed that they have this idea that if they do good things in one area of life, okay, this might be partially the secret's fault. They have this idea that if they do good things in one area of life, that for some reason that is going to affect other areas of their life that will make good things happen in that other area of their life if they want good things to happen. For example, let's say you work at a burger joint, and you like this girl at your school, your college, and you think that if you keep doing all this nice stuff at your burger joint, and you help this old lady change her car tire, that this other girl over here at school is going to like you. Like they're totally unrelated. One, if you don't do the right things over here with this girl at the school, the right things are not going to happen. And that's like, we're talking about something that is very, very iffy already with somebody liking you. But let's just say if you did do the right things, she would like you. Well, just because you do the right things in this other area, it doesn't mean that somehow magically she's gonna be attracted to you or want to be with you. You would have to find out what she likes or appeal to her automatically by the way that you look. Another example. That's a bad example. I can't always think of a great example off the top of my head. But another thing, let's say you want, you know what? There's that movie Amadeus, which is an amazing movie. You've never seen it. It's about Mozart. In the movie, the composer Salieri is Mozart's rival. And Salieri wants to be a great composer like Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. And if you look him up, Salieri, he has some compositions, and he was pretty big in his day, but he was not like a Mozart. He wanted to compose that way, but he couldn't. So what did he do? He became chaste. He offered God his chastity, and so which means that he did not have sex, even though he wanted to. And he did other things, and he would do other things for the king of whatever country, Austria. I don't remember where they were. And he thought, he was angry with God because he would do all of these things, and he still wouldn't give him the same talent that Mozart had. Instead of putting all the energy into that, like maybe he could have put more energy into more practice and doing things more obsessively in the way that Mozart did. See, that would yield more results. But he was trying to do these good deeds in this one area and thinking that they were going to carry over in the other area. And it's a big misconception. I hope that I can teach my kids this, if I don't find out that I'm wrong. But I really don't think that I'm wrong. This has been working out for me in life. And so, but you have to be kind of a secure person to think this way, because that means that you're going to have to face the fact that there's no shortcuts. And speaking of shortcuts, I noticed that people want to take other types of shortcuts. They want to take shrooms. You're familiar with shrooms? Or a drug or something like that, or a pill. But they let's say the shroom thing, I keep hearing it more and more that people, oh man, yeah, that probably expanded your mind, or, you're not going to get any insight from that. It will do something for you, but it's not going to give you the kind of insight. I mean, of course, I'm saying this, but then there could be a person, well, they could say, well, it gave me a lot of insight. I did it and gave me a lot of insight. Fine. You know what? I don't even believe you. But if it's true, you're an outlier. And the other people who say that, I listen to them talk, and they're not thinking any different from me. And in some cases, they're thinking less about things than me, But those people who were on par together, like in the things, the quality and the topics that we think about, they're not outlandishly like coming up with these ideas that I don't have, And so those things, there's no shortcuts. Like taking shrooms is not gonna give you some sort of edge or insight in the sense of like a deeper understanding of yourself. You know what'll give you a deeper understanding of yourself? Facing the things that you don't want to face. That will give you a deep understanding of yourself. And you don't have to do them all at once, of course. But why would you even want to do that? You don't have to do that. You don't have to listen to me. But I'm just talking right here. I'm telling you about how I see this situation and what I think, how I think things work for me. Why am I telling you that? Because it's a fucking podcast and I got to talk about something. And it's late and I'm getting delirious over here. You're going to be like, Goliath is not releasing a podcast. I'm giving this motherfucker $5 every month. And for what? He's just going to give me one podcast? You know what? It has been that way this month. And what am I going to do? I'm going to tell you. You know what? Just delete all your accounts from like the Patreon and from don't donate. I don't even care. You know what I'm saying? I don't make my living doing a podcast. The extra money is nice, but this is not what I rely on. It's not my main thing. You know what I'm saying? But it does help me to make more podcasts. And who else is going to give you the real talk like this? Other people who are big time in doing their podcasts. They can't talk like this because they need your money. They have the advertisers and the sponsors. And anyway, getting back to the mushrooms thing. There's no shortcuts. You have to face yourself, face the things that you don't want to face. And those things are things like, a lot of people like to think about things like, oh my God, I'm going to find out that I'm a fraud or something like that. No, that's not what I'm talking about. It could be that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, like, you want to play the guitar? You want to play the guitar? You want to get good at tennis? You want to be in a mariachi band? You want to play the trumpet in my mariachi band? I need a trumpet player. You have to face that thing that you're going to have to sit or stand and play these notes and sound awful. And you're going to have to correct every day. And you're going to have to watch yourself make progress. Right? And that might freak some people out. But the thing is that if you don't learn to love this process, this slow, like snail, like building process, you won't get to that level of expertise. And technology right now makes it very difficult for you to love that process because it's been training us for like a decade now, which is in computer and internet years is like 100 years. It's been training us to not dig deep into those processes. Even if something that we're looking at is like inspirational about spirituality, really we're just skipping a stone on the surface and we're consuming the new and the new, just the same way that companies have had us doing that with products. Now we're doing it with attention, like new things to pay attention to every day. Whatever salaciousness, if it's salaciousness that we need, or in order to get us to pay attention to it, or shock, or outrage, or inspiration even. of a esoteric and not necessarily somebody who I agree with, but is worth listening to if you're trying to round out your. Anyway, Bobby Hemmett, he said that people are addicted to inspiration online. And that may have been so, and that may still be so. But that's what I'm talking about. Facing those kinds of things, those things that you don't want to face. Like, you're going to get up in the morning and you're going to go jogging, right? Or you don't want to. Or maybe you may find that you feel old. Maybe you may find that you're actually fatter than you thought you were. Maybe you may find that you're afraid that you won't have it in you in order to get it done. Maybe you're afraid that you're going to die. Maybe you're afraid that there's all these things that you could be afraid of. And you know what? Fear is there. Everybody has fear. The thing is, you can't always let it beat you. You can't always let it dictate what you're going to do. Sometimes it's healthy, and sometimes you can't help it. Sometimes it wins. But of course, what I strive for is to not let it win, because it's already going to win on its own in certain cases. Just like with my kids, right? My kids, my daughters, they play, and I'm very cautious with them. Like when they're out playing, and they're going to get hurt, right? Already in life, but they're just not going to get hurt by me if I could help it, and they're not going to get hurt while I'm watching. Not if I could help it. And there's other things where, concerning my kids, if you don't mind me talking about that for a moment, is that I don't think that it's bad to engineer difficult things for them under safe circumstances so they could learn about it. Like maybe something to climb where you can catch them, or something to climb where they can fall on something soft if they were going to fall on something. Or, things like that, engineering obstacles, like puzzles, so to speak, life puzzles. All of these things, I hope to teach my kids, all these things that I've learned and that I know that work for me. And who am I for anybody to listen to in the sense of like listening to me, listening to my advice? Because I'm not like an Elon Musk, and I'm not like a spiritual guru, and I'm not a supreme athlete, and I'm not even that famous of a musician. But fame and music does not necessarily equal talent. And being a nobody doesn't necessarily mean that you're talented. But the most important thing to me for a long time has been to retain control over my life. And that is something that I think is rare, and something that even movie stars don't have. And I've had that for like 20 years now. And I'm kind of spoiled by it. One day, my life will be out of my control. And that one's going to hurt, I'm sure. Maybe. I don't know. Hell. But I've managed to have control, have freedom, learn at my pace, and do things that I feel that I need to do when I feel that I need to do them. So I was talking about shrooms, right? Shortcuts. There is none. So being frank and the good deeds proxy and clean trash cans. Clean trash cans. That sounds more interesting to me than it actually sounds, because of what it means to me, like I was telling you. And you know what? I got to go to bed soon. The mariachi recording, I can't wait to let you hear it. It's pretty good. Pretty good. And I'm for sure, I'm like 50% of the way done with a mix. I need to mix the violins, meaning that I need to choose parts for like this 2/3 of the song. I've already done 1/3 of that. A lot of other things are mixed. The vocals are mixed. The guitarrón is mostly mixed. The bass, which is the bass. And oh, by the way, tonight we did this Dia de los Muertos party. It's November 2nd, and November 2nd is the last day of Dia de los Muertos. And it was a beautiful party. And this lady named Tina in St. Augustine, Florida, hosted the party. She put the party on, and she does it yearly. And it's just a gorgeous layout. And there's Frida. The Frida vibe is big there. She's part Mexican, and she enjoys that part of her heritage. And her house is just beautiful. It's like a Frida Kahlo house. Like it's like old Mexico, but a communist artist's house in old Mexico. I say communist. I think Frida was a commie, and so was Diego. But you could be a commie when you live in a village. Like it's legit when you live like that. But if you live in a city, you live in a metropolis, like Los Angeles or New York, the idea of communism just doesn't. It just doesn't like it would fit there. Capitalism is perfect for a city, it seems. More for like if you're in a rural area, like a town, like a village, I could see more of that socialist, communist thing. Social. Am I really gonna get into politics? Start talking about politics right now? No, because I gotta go. And I appreciate you very much for listening. If you would like to donate to this podcast, you can do so at atlanticradio.blogspot.com. There's a PayPal and there's a Patreon. Why you would want to give me money, I have no idea. But if you have a lot of money, you should just give me money, and I will put it in my Betterment account, which is like an investment application that's like a robo-trader. And I will put it in there, and then I will build interest on it, and that would be great. And if you have a lot of money, if you have a lot of money, like you should just like throw me like $100,000 for a year, and then I'll give it right back to you at the end of the year with no interest, because I'll be building interest on it on the Betterment thing. Money Talk with Goliath Flores. I gotta make some more money, man. How are you doing with money? You're doing pretty good with money. Money can't buy happiness, and that's all there is to say about that. I'll tell you. But you definitely need a baseline. You need to have food, and your lights need to work, and your water needs to work. Did I ever tell you that I lived with no electricity and water for like 3 months in an apartment in like downtown Jacksonville? It was crazy. It was interesting. I gotta tell you though, girls, they still liked me though. Some of them even still came over my hot ass apartment, like with no electricity. And I had to get the water hose from the outside, and I had to bring the water hose in through the window. I lived on the first floor. There was a 2-story. It was a quadruplex. And I had to bring it in through the window, get the water hose, and like fill up my toilet container thing so I could flush the toilet. And that's how I had to take a shower with a water hose in the shower. Why did I not have light and water utilities? Why did they cut it off? That's kind of a long story. I'll tell you about it sometime if you ask. But I'll tell you. But I can say that it's mainly because life took a bad turn there, and it was a little bit of depression, but the depression was onset by a foiled relationship, and then a business partnership in music that went south, and then went crazy, and then I was pretty much left at zero. And this is like almost like 20 years ago. And even before then, though, I still had control over my life. And even while I didn't have light and electricity, for the most part, I still had control over my life, meaning that I had control over my destiny. I didn't have to go to a day job ever that I didn't want to go to. I haven't had a day job in about 22 decades. But it was a really interesting lesson living like that with no utilities. Would I ever want to do it again? No. But if it ever happened to me again, I'll tell you what, I'm ready. That's one thing that not having the internet at home. Like just tonight when I was walking the dog, I was passing by this restaurant that's around our house, and I have their Wi-Fi because like I wanted to go eat there once and I needed their Wi-Fi, so I have their Wi-Fi. I passed by there. I was trying to download the show that I want to watch, Mr. Robot, because the new season is out, and I couldn't. And it's constant. I couldn't because for some technical reason, but my phone died. I constantly don't get what I want. And that's another thing that people are largely used to. They're used to getting what they want. Kind of like the internet influences that because you get what you want so often. I get what I want less often. And maybe if I was a tribesman and this was food, I would be not eating. Maybe it's fasting. Maybe it's like a mental, even a spiritual fasting to not get what you want all the time so much. I mean, tell me one time when in our society where people had unlimited anything, it they it went well for them. You know what, ladies and gentlemen, I'll leave you with that thought. Te quiero mucho. I love you. Besos. Uh, and I can do this again soon. Sooner than holy shit, I've been so busy. I had 3 gigs like 2 nights ago, and then I had another gig. There's so much that's happened. There was a memorial service that I played at, which was sad. And I don't want to talk about it right now. It's too late. All right. Bye bye.